smoke on the mic like smoking Joe Frazier, the Hellraiser, raid hell with the flavor, terrorize the jam like troops in Pakistan, swinging through your town like your neighborhood Spider-Man. So what? Tick tock, keep ticking. I keep your rip with the shit that I'm kicking. The Lone Ranger, Code Red, Danger. I'm probably mixing up. I'm probably mixing up people's verses because I'm elder, yo, and that's how I go. Anyway, welcome everybody. It's the Friday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. I am appreciative that you all have found the time, made the time even, which is even more better. So thank you all so much for being here. Please come on in, have a seat, get comfy. We got some cops ain't shit on deck. We got a palate cleanser that is an update on a story that we covered here. If you guys remember the story of the sister who was a Baltimore sister, but she actually ended up pew-pewing her husband at a Washington, D.C. hotel. This was a few years back. Why did she pew-pew her husband? He survived, by the way. She pew-pewed him because find out that this former cop, her husband, ex-husband now, was committing CSA on a child in the wife's care. And so the wife, being the soldier that she was, she decided to handle business. Well, they locked her up for that. But she's out. Yes. So I want us to celebrate that soldier sister, that sister soldier who did what needed to be done in order to protect the children of our community. But anyway, gang, I'm going to go ahead and get rolling and get started here. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown. We do this Tuesdays, Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everyone that is holding us down on Twitch. What's up, Rosalba? What's up, Northern Witch? What's up to the good folks over there? Fire fam. Fist up, flames up. Let's go. And the funny thing is, you guys, I'm watching the spectacle, these mini spectacles. Dare I say the circus? I don't know what's happening. How would you guys best describe the Trump administration? Is it a circus or is it a zoo? Or is it I don't know if Looney Bin. I don't know if Looney Bin still is an acceptable piece of the lexicon, but regardless, it's a shit show. Let's finite it right there, because that definitely describes all the things that is happening as Trump continues to flail amid these accusations of him being close with Jeffrey Epstein. And probably there's a very good likelihood that not only is Trump in the Epstein files, but Trump likely was a willing and very gleeful participant in the sexual exploitation of young girls, some as young, alleged to be as 13 years old, right? I wanted to say this real quick because the spectacle that Trump is doing now, trying to point to everything else besides him, and then doing these different appearances, and then we got some information. Y'all, where was all this studious, diligent journalism about these very old accusations in this very well documented close relationship between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein that goes back decades? And it's amazing to me. I'm listening to all these stories come out. The New York Times just released a story about an incident from 1991, and the Wall Street Journal said, uncovered the birthday card Trump allegedly wrote to Epstein for his. And I'm like, nigga, this shit is like 20 fucking years old. Like, this did not happen 5-10 years ago. This shit is old. This shit was out there available for Getty image searches. Like, somebody with a LexisNexis subscription could have easily found all this shit. Why is all this good journalism coming out now? It reminds me too much of in the immediacy after Joe Biden took his swan song and was no longer president. Here come the book. Who was that goofy ass nigga? Jake Tapper. Here come the book. Oh, Biden wasn't competent during the last 2 years of his administration. No shit, Sherlock. Why you wait till the niggas out of the White House to tell everybody this? Not to say that people didn't know or have their suspicions. However, it is the role of reporters and journalists to look out for the interest of the people. That means disclosing what might be uncomfortable at minimum, outright condemning on the other on the other scale, outright condemning information about people in power or elected officials, especially those at the height of the presidency, right? This is what journalists are supposed to do, but y'all supposed to do the shit preemptively. You supposed to be doing this circa 2014, 2015. And the laziness, the lackadaisical nature of the mainstream media, the legacy media outlets of the United States, gang, you got part of the reason we have Trump is because, and I watched this happen. This is why, in part, there are many reasons why I do not trust cable news in particular, but this factored into it heavily. When Trump was on the campaign trail in 2015, I saw MSNBC, I saw CNN. I expected it from Fox, so Fox doing the shit didn't surprise me. But I saw these other cable news networks cut their programming in the middle of whatever the fuck they were talking about and go to a Trump rally. And it was studied after the election that Trump received what was it, y'all? Tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. If you were able to quantify or put into currency the amount of free airtime that Donald Trump received, especially from cable news, it amounted in the hundreds of millions of dollars. It was outrageous amounts of not just attention, but lack of critical engagement with what Trump was saying, and the unimaginable and not available, not easily understood why Trump was given so much political credibility. These niggas was taking his answers for like gold, like, yes, that's a good answer. Like, no, it's not. Is anyone listening? For fuck's sake. So I find all this Johnny come lately journalism and reporting, all these revelations about Trump's relationship, alleged, but I did not pull these clips with intention because I found them to be triggering, and I did not want to, I think I trigger y'all enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, the goal here is not to trigger my amazing viewers, but there are clips floating around of at least two Epstein accusers, one who I believe was 15 when she was first assaulted and groomed by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, and another woman, a teenager at the time, alleged to be 13 years old, when she says that she was assaulted by Trump and Epstein, allegedly over the course of a weekend. They shared her. And she claims that Trump absolutely knew how old she was. This is not new information. This should not be coming out 6 months into the new presidency. And as Trump continues to flail, the empire flails, right? I'm looking at this and I'm like, so goes Trump, so goes America? Maybe so at this point. But when Trump shows up sometimes, and maybe you guys have seen this clip, Trump has a tendency to bully the situation, but at a surprise visit to the Federal Reserve, Fed Chair Jerome Powell seemed to check him a little bit because, per usual, this nigga had his numbers wrong, which he usually has his numbers wrong, his facts wrong, his names wrong, all kinds of basic information Trump routinely gets wrong, and you seldom see Trump fact checked in real time, or if ever. So I like this clip because it kind of made me chuckle. But anyway, wait, let's go ahead and run it real quick. Well, thank you.
It looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
Our notes had it about 3.1 as well.
3.1,
3.2. This came from us?
Yes. I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added.
That's our entire capital plan.
Yeah, you just added in a third building is what that is. That's a third building,
Well,
including
no,
the
but
Martin building.
it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work.
But it's
So,
not new.
So what they were discussing there was the amount of a multi-year renovation of wherever the fuck the Fed Reserve, the Federal Reserve, where they meet up. And per usual, Trump didn't have his facts right. And to be clear, I'm no fan of Jerome Powell. Anyone that is in charge of global finance, you can assume is likely a very unseemingly character, right? Like this is not a rah-rah sis boom bah for whoever the fuck the Fed chair is. I just appreciated Trump only able to be checked by another white man, and as even as subtle of a checking as that was, you see that Trump was definitely not accustomed to anybody ever challenging his numbers or his facts or his figures, and that is definitely a feature of this administration that we probably haven't seen in a long time. I feel like the regime of George W. Bush was also deep in delusion, and it would come out a lot in their political talking points and when they would make appearances. But the level of delusion for the Trump administration and its mouthpieces is a little staggering. But what is also not staggering, as I said, as more information comes out about Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, and again, whatever, but somebody unearthed a clip, and credit to the Midas Touch, this is where I saw that, and we're going to play it from the Midas Touch. But there was a clip, I'm not sure if you saw this, from a Sirius XM radio interview with Luke Campbell. The aunties and the unks know exactly who Luther Campbell is. Uncle Luke, 2 Live Crew fame. Yeah, I don't know if it was ever confirmed that Luther Campbell was a dirtball. I'm not certain that was the case. I think he ran with dirtballs, or it didn't. What was it about Luke Campbell that hangs me up? Besides, the blatant misogyny expressed in 2 Live Crew music. But oh, right, he said that's right. Luke Campbell said he always left the Diddy parties early and he didn't know what the fuck was going on. Okay, nigga. Well, it seems like the dirtballs love to invite Uncle Luke to the party because he got invited to a Trump party. And he expressed in this interview that we're about to hear, this is from years ago. I think we're going to get the exact year from old boy from the Midas Touch. But Luke Campbell said he went to a Trump party at Mar-a-Lago, if I'm not mistaken, and said he was deeply uncomfortable with the number of young girls, young women there who appeared to be underage. They did not appear to be of legal consenting age. And he expressed some concern about that, but not too much concern to raise the alarm or to say anything. But let's take a listen and we'll come back and discuss.
An old interview with someone who attended a Donald Trump party in the early 1990s has emerged. One of Donald Trump's celebrity friends at that time, his name is Luther Campbell. You may know him as the rap moniker Uncle Luke. He was part of the band 2 Live Crew. And he did an interview with Sirius XM about 10 years ago on a show called Make It Plain with Mark Thompson. And during this interview, Luther Campbell, aka Uncle Luke, talks about how in the early 1990s, he was at Donald Trump's house in Palm Beach, and he left this party when he saw people there who he thought were underage girls. He described the scene as looking like it was from Eyes Wide Shut with Tom Cruise and Nicole Campbell. He said he saw drug use and he had to just get out.
The man took us around the house. He said, I got these women from the pageant. They're going to be there. So we went, up in Palm Beach. They sent some cars to pick us up. We got cocktails and everything. And before you know it, the rooms and everything start popping. It wasn't no DJ. It was more of, hey, get in where you fit in. Whatever room you going to go in, you go into that room.
So you say no DJ. There was no music? Or the music was piped in?
No, there wasn't no music.
No music.
That was the interesting part about it. It wasn't no music.
So women just naked in rooms with no music?
When I started looking at some of these girls' faces, I was like, man, these girls don't look like they're old enough. I didn't ask nobody their age. And then all the other stuff going on, you know, it was like, okay, I can't be up here. I got to go. If I'm going to jail, then somebody's going to extort me. I really, you know, I don't do drugs.
He didn't want to be around it. He thought that he could also be extorted if he was there. Listen to him in his own words again, talking about the event. Let's play it.
The thing, let me tell you, the thing is, when you're around, I've been around a lot of models and a lot of pageant women, because that's what mostly it was. It was mostly pageant women. And a lot of these women ain't of age. So when you got a whole bunch of these women running around, whether they of age or not, you know, there's a lot of things going on. You just, you know, some women look too young.
Oh,
so you keep it moving.
I see.
You know, so it wasn't nobody beating no women or nobody taking advantage of no women. I mean, they were all enjoying themselves. That's what they were there for. But were they old enough to be enjoying themselves? I don't know.
Was there sex?
Of course there was.
I guess that's a stupid question now to ask. Okay, so I think I got you now. You're saying all this was going on and you weren't clear as to whether these were adults. I
wasn't clear whether or not they were adults, and I wasn't clear whether or not, you know, whether I wanted to be in that kind of environment where some of these other things that was going on in there.
Phew. That was a lot right there. Luke Campbell starts off, or at least in the clip, saying that Trump or someone associated with Trump says we got the pageant women. And Luke Campbell is 100% correct. A lot of the participants in beauty pageants, people that are young and inexperienced models, a lot of times they are teenagers. A lot of times they are young teenagers, like 13, 14, 15, like really, really young. And they are thrust into these adult environments. And, you know, I know we live in a different time compared to 10 years ago when that interview was given. But, you know, to hear the laughs, and again, I know I laugh at inappropriate shit, okay, to be clear. And it's not so much that I find it funny. I laugh because it makes me uncomfortable. And that is my reaction to my own discomfort, right, is to, and sometimes try to make light of sometimes dark situations. But me, myself, personally, I don't find the trafficking or the harm of teenage girls at the hands of pedophile billionaires. There's nothing that I find funny or amusing about that. And to listen to Luke Campbell say that he saw young women in sexual situations enjoying themselves, not getting beat, not getting coerced, enjoying themselves. And then he thought about it. I don't know if they were old enough to enjoy themselves. You know, we really have a big misconception about consent in this country and what it is. And per the conservative movement's goals to further reduce and lower the age of consent, to make sure that child marriage remains legal in certain places in the country, like, people just really don't understand that girls at or under a certain age are not old enough to give legal consent, which makes it rape. I don't care what they say. I don't care how they present. I don't care if they wanted it. A 15-year-old cannot consent to sex. In some states, 16 and 17-year-old cannot consent to sex. Least of all with adults much, much older than they, right? I think we expect a certain amount of sexual contact of teenagers with each other, right? But I don't think that adults should be salivating and watching the calendar to wait until a young person reaches the age of consent so they can have their way with them. It's disgusting. And this is routine practice from the likes of the elites in our country, the people You know, Trump was oft referenced in a lot of my favorite rap tunes of the 1990s. Niggas made a lot of raps given similes and metaphors, comparing themselves to Donald Trump or ambitions to be like Trump. This is what these motherfucking weirdo billionaires are. They can have any woman in the world, any consenting woman who is an adult, and yet they want kids. They lust for kids. They high five each other for abusing kids. And that is a very simple, basic premise, but you'd be surprised to how many people it is not. And it's interesting to see MAGA of all people it's somewhat wake up and care about this. It's like, since when do y'all give a shit about young girls getting assaulted? MAGA champions restrictive abortion laws in which teen girls are not able to go and seek out reproductive health care without parental consent. That means you don't care if young girls get assaulted, because you don't even want them to take care, have the ability to speak up and have autonomy over their own body's decisions. We as a nation, especially our law enforcement, does not take seriously the accusations of rape and sexual assault and child sexual assault. I do have some cases coming up a little bit later in the show, but keep in mind, y'all, when the serial pedophile or serial rapist is finally caught, that's an anomaly. Okay, like that is the less frequent thing that happens. The more common thing that happens is that serial sexual assaulters are allowed to continue basically unabated, unchecked. Because even when victims come forward and make statements, they have to be the absolute perfect victims, or their claims may or may not get taken seriously. As we saw with Jeffrey Epstein, as he was given a sweetheart deal after he was convicted of sex trafficking and child sex assault. So anyway, maybe Trump will take out America. Maybe as Trump goes, America goes, right? And on some level, and I understand that I'm here also, but I kind of love it. Trump's bullshit is not stopping the shit show train, right? Like, all the terrible policies are still getting passed, but Trump is not able to do these things comfortably. You know what I mean? Meaning that he is feeling the heat on a good many fronts, and I certainly appreciate it. Hold on, where am I going here next? Hold what you got, little folks. Hey, so let me take a quick break here, beloveds. Do me a favor, please like the video. Do what you do. I want to say a happy birthday to all the Leos out there. Hey, Leo, how you doing, baby? Y'all out there looking good, strutting and shit. You know, my birthday is on Monday. And usually around my birthday, we do our summer fundraiser. So we appreciate if you're able to contribute any support, we would absolutely take it in the form of super chats. You can run us some bucks via Cash App, $ BIDWKB. Did I already thank Nick E from last week? I think I did. Thank you, Nick. Oh, what else was it? Oh, yeah. Oh, we're on Venmo too at BIDWKB, paypal.me/BIDWKB, patreon.com/BIDWKB. Thank you all so much. So, cops ain't shit. F12. I think you know this. And I got some cops ain't shit stories for you guys. And this one kind of ties back to Trump. Actually, hold on. Maybe it doesn't. You know, maybe it does. Like, maybe all cops ain't shit stories. No, because cops ain't shit predates Trump. So never mind. So this story is an interesting one. It's coming out of Georgia, but it pertains to a Florida sheriff's deputy. And this is a 15-year Jesus. I just ear doctored that shit because it definitely says 51. And I was about to say 15. A 51-year-old sheriff's deputy who has been on the force, I believe, nearly 30 years, has been arrested for allegedly pursuing a relationship with a teenager in Georgia. What makes this story a little different is that this sheriff's deputy is a woman. And when we look at how the rates of perpetrators, when it's broken down by sex, obviously the mandem is leading the way by leaps and bounds. I think men are 90% of sexual abusers and rapists. But 10% is still 1 in 10, okay? And it's not a little number when we're talking about 10% of alleged rapists and perpetrators are indeed women. It's something to consider, and never take your eye off the ball, especially when it's pertaining to your children. And anyway, let's get the story and come back and talk about this, because again, I think because this sheriff's deputy is a woman, this caught my attention because I just don't see it all that often. So let's go ahead and take a look.
Sheriff's deputy is off the job. Miami-Dade Sheriff's deputy is off the job and under arrest, accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a 17-year-old.
Investigators say that 51-year-old Carly Blum traveled to Atlanta, Georgia to do it and also recorded herself. A new federal affidavit also reveals Blum threatened to kill the teenager and then tried to end the relationship. We are also learning that a few days before her arrest, the victim was Baker acted in Georgia and that their mental health had deteriorated over the past year, that they had been involved with Blum. Sheriff Rosie Cordero-Stutz says she's very disturbed by the charges.
The deputy was arrested in the state of Georgia by the FBI. So my understanding is that she is still currently in the state of Georgia. Once they move her from there is when we will take our next steps. The immediate will be a relief of duty, which will happen shortly upon the processing.
Blum is a 29-year veteran of the department. A process, as you heard, the sheriffs say, underway now to bring the deputy from Georgia here to Miami, where her first stop will be in the federal courthouse for her first court appearance.
Yikes, that's dirty work. I wonder though, will her police union fight for her to keep her job? And that's not a facetious question. There have been flat out murderers, police officers convicted of murder or charged with murder rather. And it's convicted. Those two pieces of shit DC cops who were convicted of murder, Trump pardoned them. and the police union was part of the lobbying process to get Trump to pardon these cops, right? So anyway, I just wonder, because these police unions seem to overlook a wide range of reprehensible behavior in defense of their officer and sheriff's, deputy members. But Carly Blum, 51 years old, a 29-year veteran, alleged to have been abusing a 17-year-old girl who suffered mentally as a result of the relationship. And to me, even though 1 out of 10, give or take, sexual offenders are female, which is obviously a very small number compared to what the other number is, I think that maybe this assault or this deputy's willingness or ability to be able to allegedly harm this young girl has more of is more of a function of the badge of the job, right? Because police officers and people who are in law enforcement have a very grandiose sense of power, right? We see this play out in not only allegations of sexual assault of people in their sphere or under their care by, law enforcement committing those assaults. But we also see this in the encounters with the public. And when encounters with the public go left, the video of William McNeil the young man out of Florida who was viciously assaulted by Jacksonville sheriffs for what? Young boy got pulled over for having his headlights not on during the daytime. Wow. Welcome to being black in America. However, this lady, this sheriff's deputy, she knew that she could take advantage if again, you guys know I'm a journalist. I got to caveat all this shit. If the allegations against her are true, you know this woman took into consideration her position as a sheriff's deputy and what that represented to this 17-year-old, very impressionable girl, right? Our kids are taught automatic deference to law enforcement, which I actually think is not a good thing. It is deep American cultural indoctrination that fuck reconsider. We need to abandon that shit, because when we teach kids that, number one, all cops are good, and when we teach kids that you should listen to and obey and comply with cops at all times, it opens the gates for abuse, for people not even being able to recognize they're being abused because the abuse is coming from a police, right? Or people feeling a sense of helplessness that they have no recourse against a potential abuser who is in law enforcement because they are in law enforcement. And everybody knows cops cover for each other, whether or not you like the police or not. Even people who are pro-police know that cops cover for one another, right? And they know that in a power dynamic where you are the victim and or the complainant, your burden of proof is so much more higher because you're coming at someone in law enforcement, because they will close ranks and stick together and they will protect their fellow officers, even if they know that they are harmful, right? So I want to send our love and solidarity to this young person. I hope that with the arrest of Sheriff's Deputy Carly Bloom, that this young person's, can sleep a little better, to know that Carly is not coming to kill her, and we'll pursue it, right? Even though going through the system of attempting to quote unquote get justice can also be very traumatizing. And I do not envy the road that this young lady has ahead of them, right? Because unfortunately, evidence sometimes is not enough. Like the witness testimony in our system of laws, the defendant has a right to confront their accuser, right? So I don't know. We'll see how this goes. A lot of times in these kinds of cases, a plea deal will get struck in order to spare the victim further re-traumatization by having to go on the stand. But sometimes these defendants are very ornery, right? And they don't give a fuck about the feelings of the victim. So I'm hoping this process goes as well as it could possibly go for this young victim. I did want to circle back here. So this next cops ain't shit story, it kind of ties into Trump. Maybe not even kind of. Do me a favor, gang. Like the video. Hit the subscribe button. It's BIDWKB. Burn it down with Kim Brown. Cops ain't shit on deck. So here we go. I want us to go to Texas. To Austin, actually. Shout out to Austin. Big up Texas. What's up, Dallas? What's up, H-Town? What's up, PAT? Hope everybody doing all right down there. So there's a special legislative session been called in the Texas State House. The fuck are they talking about, Kim? What's so special? Well, Trump gave marching orders. Trump said, hey, guess what, y'all? Texas, I need 5 more congressional seats. Do you think you can pull that off? Do you think you can find a way to disenfranchise a bunch of otherwise, maybe non-Republican, not non-GOP voting districts, especially in urban areas? You think you can handle that, Greg Abbott, you piece of shit? And Greg Abbott, being the piece of shit that he is, of course, responded in the affirmative. So they called a special legislative session. And basically, the whole intent of this session is to redistrict, to draw new congressional district lines for the state of Texas, gerrymandering, which means to basically draw the district in such a way that it disproportionately gives one particular political party power, right? The majority and beyond, okay? So Texas lawmakers were given testimony, and a lawmaker by the name of Isaiah Martin gave a good speech, of which we're about to see. But it's what came after the speech that is beyond disturbing, reprehensible, albeit very on brand for the United States, particularly when it comes to attacking Black elected officials who actually have the temerity to legitimately criticize power, right? And to call a thing a thing. So Isaiah Martin did just that. If we have any persons from Texas amongst us, I did forget to look where Isaiah Martin represents. I don't know from where in the state of Texas his district is. So if you know, put it in the chat. But I do want us to take a look at first his speech, and then the way that he was manhandled and accosted after his time had expired, and the way that he was physically restrained, removed, and made to shut up. So let's take a look.
Very apparent that no one seems to know why we're here. It just seems as if many are just sitting here going with the emotions. And it makes sense, because the game is rigged. We already know this way the situation's going to be. Many of you that are Republicans that are looking at you, you guys understand the game. You got to get Trump's endorsement. That's the name of the game to be a Republican nowadays. And you know very clearly that Trump told every single one of you that he needs 5 seats, is what he said. So why do we play this game where we come here to an empty chamber in which all of you pretend as if you don't know what's going on when you already know what the situation is? But the real conversation that we should be having, that I want every single one of you to understand, is that there will be a retaliation for that. You've seen states like California say that they will gerrymander Republicans out of their states. You see the same thing in Maryland. The same thing is going to happen in New York. While you were in here, Governor Kathy Hochul said that she will be gerrymandering Republicans out of their seats. The same thing is going to happen in New Jersey. So for all of the work that you guys see, that you guys claim to be doing, when we should be talking about the fact that we live in a state that is unaffordable for people, our economy is wrecked, people cannot find good jobs, we literally have property taxes going up every single year, despite the fact that you Republicans have been in office for nearly 30 straight years. I mean, this is the game that we live in right here. And you choose, after we literally got after one of the worst mass casualty events in our state's history, to go and gerrymander people out of their seats. That's what you have chosen to do with your time, because you're scared of Donald Trump. You are scared and terrified because you're seeking an endorsement when you understand the truth. And the funny part about it is that you all know it's true. You can't react to it. I see you guys' faces. You can't react to it, but you all know what the situation is. Because Donald Trump runs this body. He runs your vote, he runs your vote, he runs your vote, he runs your vote, because you guys know that you cannot dare cross him. And ultimately, what we need in this state are people that have the cojones to actually go forward and call this stuff out. Because what you guys have done to this state is cataclysmically horrific. And I think that everybody across the nation should be able to go and look at what you guys have done. So I look forward to Kathy Hochul getting rid of you guys as Republican friends. I look forward to Phil Murphy getting rid of your Republican friends. I look forward to Wes Moore doing the same thing. I think Andy Harris
Please finish
had a
your
long
testimony.
congressional career. He's about to be done too. All of them will be done. And you can thank your failed, senile, dilapidated, Epstein partying with president for all of the work that we're about to do to every single one of you.
Thank you for your testimony.
You did this, you caused this, and this is the
witnesses-
result of you.
You need to have shame. You need to have shame.
History will not remember you for what you have done. It is a shame. It is horrific for what you have.
Jesus! Jesus, get off of him!
It's horrific for what you have done. Sir, you should all be ashamed. America will rise up against you.
Whoa, sir, this is my first name. I'm sorry, you can't just wait.
As the chair has exhibited throughout this hearing, the purpose of today is to hear your testimony. When individuals fail to maintain order or decorum, it's disrespectful to the other individuals that are here.
Let me tell you something. What Isaiah Martin did, thank you, by the way, chat, he represents H-Town, inner city Houston, Texas's 18th district. Cory Booker could never have the balls to stand up and call these people out in the way that Isaiah Martin did. And I'm so sorry that he was literally physically attacked and it having to endure a bit of a humiliation. And I say that maybe that's the incorrect word, because he doesn't have anything to be embarrassed or ashamed about. In fact, if we had more elected officials willing to stand up and say those kinds of things, and I know there's a lot more, there's action, there's organizing, I get all that. But at the very base of it, it is the speech. It is what people are willing to say. It is the way that people are willing to put chest behind their words and assert their principles, what their beliefs are, and overall what is right. And listen, America listed as a democracy has always been a misnomer, right? This country has never demonstrated democracy. It's a republic, right? The goal of the GOP and the conservatives is to return back to the days of the founding fathers, when the only people who had any sort of human rights, fuck voting and property rights, the only people who had fucking human rights were the property owning, cisgender, heterosexual white males, right? Well, maybe not all of them were heterosexual, but so long as they were cisgender, property owning white men, they was good to go. And Trump and his cronies are like, we just want that again. Like all of this progress, all of this expanding of rights to other people in other racial groups and classes and even genders and gender identities. No, not all the people don't need all them goddamn rights. Definitely don't need all them voting rights. So let's gerrymander. Let's suppress the vote even further than what it's been suppressed historically, especially within the Black community and other communities of color. And what's interesting about Trump making this request of Greg Abbott and of Texas is that maybe for about 10 or 15 years, some political demographers had projected or speculated that Texas would eventually kind of be purple, a purpley state. Think of the state of Virginia, right? Virginia, although it has a Republican governor, both chambers of the Virginia legislature are Democrat. There's still a very strong Democratic, chokehold, stronghold. The point is, even amongst the duopoly, they try to split power, even though they both on the same fucking side. But you understand what I'm trying to say. So for it to be speculated that Texas would eventually turn purple and likely acquire more Democratic congressional representation, I just love the way Trump doesn't make any pretense about rigging the fucking game. Like, he's not even trying to pretend that he's trying to expand democracy or expand voting or expand representation at all. He's very upfront with it. But why not be upfront with it when you have an army of willing minions in the form of state and congressional GOP representatives? It's crazy. There is no way that even Republicans should be okay with a special session to address redistricting, to address a problem that's not even a problem, or rather, it's not a problem in the direction that that Greg Abbott and Donald Trump seem to think it is. This is a blatant power grab to further disenfranchise Black voters and voters of color in the state of Texas. And I don't, and women and everybody. God damn, I don't see how Texas could be more disenfranchised, but here we go. And to this young man, Isaiah Martin, Texas state representative, for him to be assaulted in that way, it definitely reminded me of the two Justins from Tennessee. Maybe I came up with the brothers Justin because these two young Black brothers, I think one representing the Memphis area, the other representing the Nashville area in Tennessee state legislature. If you guys remember, it was maybe a couple to a few years ago that they were expelled from the Texas state legislature. They were summarily re-elected by their constituents, but I believe, weren't they physically touched? Didn't somebody put hands on them in a very uncute way? And it's funny, anytime there is Black representation, I mean, we can debate the merits and demerits of Black political representation in the halls of power, but it has always been disrespected. You know what I'm saying? It has always been disrespected. I have not. Can you guys recall a white elected official having paws put on them by the state troopers or whichever law enforcement agency does security at the state? I mean, can y'all? I'm really trying to think. They locked up Ras Baraka and LaMonica up there in New Jersey. Like, I'm trying to think, when was the last white politician that got cuffed up or roughed up? Drop the name in the chat, y'all. I'm struggling because I don't want to say it never happened. I'm sure it has happened. But why is it that I can name 5 off the top of my head? Black representatives, Black elected officials who have been in recent fucking months, for God's sakes. Jesse Smollett. What? Y'all are hilarious. Where Jesse Smollett? You know what? Y'all playing. All right. Okay. Well, I guess they don't do white elected officials like that. Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. But it is a tremendous indignity, and I'm glad that my man's was giving all the shots to Donald Trump. You're decrepit, senile, Epstein, partying with. I said, yup, run it, bruv. Run it down. Tell them devils about theyself and they leader directly to their face. That is excellent work, State Representative Isaiah Martin. Well done. So I do have another cops ain't shit story. Hold on, because the cops absolutely was not shit in that situation, by the way. Wait, let me circle back. The cops were not shit to do that. And the cops also were not shit by trying to obstruct the view of the person who was documenting the assault on Representative Martin. What you got to hide? Hoods off, mask off. Like we see the Klan activities for what they are. Ain't no point of concealing it. So Will, I want us to play the clip on the doc that is labeled Fort Pierce Commissioner or whatever the fuck it says. So it's the last thing on the doc. Because although this isn't a cops ain't shit story per se, I wanted to bring this to y'all's attention because people really seem to be misunderstood or not having the clearest picture of what pedophiles look like, right? So that's part of the reason I think all this Trump shit is breaking late, breaking decades after all of his well-documented creepy behavior has been on the record for some time, because people think he's a billionaire. He could marry and has married models. Why would he want to diddle with little kids. And again, some people are pedophiles, okay? And some people are pedophiles and they look like billionaires. Some people are pedophiles and they look like police. Coming out of Fort Pierce, Florida, the news broke on, I believe, the 25th of July, which would be on today, but wanted to mark the date for those who could watch later. It was announced that the commissioner, one of the commissioners for Fort Pierce, Florida, was arrested. Why were they arrested? Well, allegedly, they were having an inappropriate text relationship with a young girl, and a very young girl at that. Let's go ahead and watch the package to get the details. Well, let's run that.
We are following some breaking news here in the WPBF 25 newsroom. A city commissioner in Fort Pierce has been accused of sending nude images to a 12-year-old girl in Illinois. This is the commissioner we're talking about. His name is James Taylor. He is 38 years old, and he was arrested this morning in Fort Pierce. According to the sheriff's office arrest report, the commissioner started contacting the 12-year-old girl who lives in Evanston last summer. The girl's mother then discovered this communication and contacted police. That's how this investigation started. We also know that Taylor now faces 24 felony counts. Those counts include transmission of materials harmful to minors, harmful communication with a minor, solicitation of transmission of child pornography. He is now in custody. His bond has been set at $250,000.
That is not enough money. 250,000 bond. What you got to come up with 10%, 25 racks for a white? Shit, nope. Too low. Too low. The ease in which white folks can put their hands on 25,000, and I know that is not applicable across the board. Blah blah blah. I get it. However, I assure you, I know way more whites who could put their hands on 25 grand than I know black folks. And it is what the fuck it is. But yup, James Taylor, 38 years old, alleged to have sent and solicited 24 felony counts worth of child sex abuse materials from a 12-year-old. Do you think there is any way in the world that this man did not know that this girl was 12? Gang, it be the ones who are front facing. It be the ones who are visible. It be the ones who are loud and proud about their family values. Okay, those be the main ones. Like the extra churchy and pretty snide and snitty with their moral judgments and condemnations of other people and their behaviors. How many times? And I should have looked this nigga up. Actually, shame on me. I'm willing to bet. No, I'm gonna go out on this because first of all, you cannot put such behavior past men of any political leanings, right? Like a bad man is a bad man, and they are likely to vote every way that you could think of. Okay, you find the bad men, the ones that are willing to prey on vulnerable people. They're found in all spaces, all political parties, all. However, I'm willing to roll that dice, beloved. I'm willing to roll that dice to say that James, he might be giving me MAGA vibes. He might be giving me Trump supporter vibes. 12 years old, gang. I want to know the kind of environments in which some of these people are being raised, right? When we hear, I'm trying to think of a recent example because I thought that I had one and it's not coming to me off the top of my head. All of them, like we don't question the upbringing of pedophiles. We don't question the upbringing of serial killers unless it's some downtrodden story, unless it's a Jeffrey Dahmer kind of story, or you know what I mean? Like there are a lot of pedophiles, there are a lot of school shooters, there are a lot of mass shooters who most of whom tend to lean on the white side of things, and they come from two-parent households. They come sometimes from high income backgrounds. Sometimes they're pretty educated. Sometimes they're pretty accomplished professionally, right? And no one questions what kind of psychopathy must be being cultivated in this kind of culture, whatever the culture is. Like all this finger wagging that comes from the side of the right, that comes from conservatives about the breakdown of the nuclear family and all this shit. Nigga, have y'all seen y'all nuclear families? Okay, have you seen what comes out of some of y'all nuclear families? Okay, it's one thing for persons who are born of like a single parent household and may be either in poverty or maybe working class, and people will turn sometimes, not always, but on occasion will turn to crime as a means for survival, as a means to be able to feed yourself, to be able to come up with enough to keep yourself housed, right? And when those people commit crimes, usually that are born, like I said, of survival, their whole upbringing, their whole community is given a lot of extra scrutiny. And people ask, well, what's the problem? The breakdown is in the communities, in the family, the daddy wasn't there, blah, blah, blah. I want to know James Taylor. I bet you James Taylor come from a good family. A lot of these psychos do. Maybe the question for the two-parent white households that are cultivating psychopaths and pedophiles, maybe the question isn't for them, where are the daddies? Maybe the question is, what are the daddies doing? What is happening behind closed doors in some of these households that when these motherfuckers get out into the world, their first instincts is to wreak havoc and inflict harm on some of the most vulnerable among us. It's very sick and demented behavior. We'll follow this story. We'll keep up with this because I want to see where that goes, because irrespective of whether or not this man ever had physical contact with this child, the abuse can absolutely happen digitally. I'm not sure. It sounded like some of the charges included him soliciting materials from her. And then again, to think that some of these things might get raised in court, like, oh, no. I just hate the bad men. Please cause them as much harm as possible. Thank you so much. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We've had a bit, from what I understand, it's a light crowd. It's a bit of a light crowd out there, but we had to kick people out. Oh, what was they? Who did we have in here? There was pro pedophile. Who were they? They were coming in here stumping for the pedophiles. Like what was we kicking people out for, everybody?
Your favorite Trump?
Oh, but are they riding for Trump? I thought
yeah.
MAGA revolted on Trump already. I thought that was last week. And they still on Trump? They still support Trump?
Hanger-oners, I guess what they call them. Hanger-oners. They trying to separate the hate from the artist. So, I love, man, I don't know him. But, he meant those hate speeches are great. I don't know about the rest of it.
Yo, we
got a couple super chats. Shout out to William Reddish.
Hey, thank you, William.
Shout out to yo. Shout out to Nat A. We holding us down. We love you, Nat.
Thank you, Nat A. Shout out to Kane and all the revolutionary dogs. I'm sorry. Say it again, Will.
We got happy early birthday, Kim, and then also happy and the 21st anniversary is on the 30th for Nat A. Holding it down. Show them what love is.
What?
Show them what love is, Nat A.
Thank you, Nat A. Oh, wait,
Nat A. That helps the exciting love too, because she was like, "This is my anniversary, 30 years deep." I love, yeah. Shout out to you, Nat.
Wait, Nat. Wait, so she has a birthday coming up? Is that what I'm understanding?
No, anniversary, 21st anniversary.
Are you being married to your husband?
I'm assuming so.
Oh, your partner?
Or your partner, yeah, whoever.
Congratulations! Now that is a big deal. Congratulations. That is a huge deal. Congratulations. Send love. Spread love. Ba, ba, da.
Nobody got them stories no more. I was with my husband for 32 years and I'm happy and happy. That's Shout out to you, man.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Hey, that's not. I know some Gen X married couples that's been married out here. Like it's more than what I expected of my generation, to be honest. Like I didn't think that I would know as many couples married 15 plus years as I do, and I know several. Which again, knowing all of us was not all of us, of course, but a lot of us was coming up in single parent households. So I think some in Gen X made intentions to, we still together. y'all put that work in. I love it, Nat. Yeah, give Kane a scratch on the ears for me, please. Thank you so much. So, gang, I wanted to leave us off with a palate cleanser. This is a good one. This is a good one because this one brought a big old smile to my face. Okay, so we've been following the story of Chanterry Young, who is formerly Chanterry Weems. Chanterry is from Baltimore. She used to run a daycare center, and I want to say 2020. What year is this? 25, maybe 2020 or 2021, somewhere in there. We're going to hear it in the package. She discovered that her husband had sexually abused, I believe, a 10-year-old girl who was in Chanterry's care. She ran a daycare in which her husband, who was a former Baltimore cop. I can't recall if it was city or county, but former Baltimore cop, who would drive the bus for his wife and her daycare service. He was sexually abusing at least one of the children in her care. A fucking reprehensible, dirty bastard dog piece of shit. And Chanterry, when she found out, she didn't let that shit ride. She said, baby, baby, I got us a room down at the Mandarin Oriental. We're going to do it up big. Come on down. Meet me in DC. We're going to get out of town. Nigga showed up. She put 2 in them. Bow, bow. Ooh! Woo! Woo! We stand a queen. We stand a pew pew queen. Okay? We stand a pew pew queen. Now, unfortunately, hubby survived. However, he was eventually charged and found guilty, convicted, now serving a sentence in connection with the horrific assault of that little girl. But Chanterry herself was convicted for the pew-pewing of her husband. Big boo. that boo. Yeah, we boo that this woman went to jail. This lady did a service. This lady was a soldier of God out here. What else was she supposed to do? Call the fucking police and wait for them to do their job? Be serious. So anyway, the good news is Chanterry Young has now been released from jail. And we're going to pick up the story from there. Let's take a listen.
Chanterry Young is almost free after being in custody since July 2022 when she shot her then husband, former Baltimore City police officer James Weems, after confronting him over allegations he'd been abusing children at her daycare, Little Kids Castle in Owings Mills. What do you want people to know?
One of the things I really want to say is I thank everybody for the support that they have given me. It has really helped me get through my prison sentence, and I'm just really thankful for that. I'm glad to be out and at the halfway house, and I'm just looking forward to rebuilding and giving back to the community like I was before.
She testified against her ex-husband, who was convicted of rape and sexual abuse last year and sentenced to life in prison. Prosecutors built their case around a 10-year-old girl he abused inside the daycare's van.
The one thing I think that we need to know is that sexual abuse is not okay with children. A lot of times in the past, it has been covered up, and it's good that it's getting some type of notoriety to it so that we can stop it, we can help children and not accept this, especially from somebody who we all thought should have been protecting children and protecting the community at one point.
A judge in D.C., where the shooting occurred, sentenced Young to 4 years in prison, double what prosecutors requested. People around the world and here in Maryland expressed outrage at a punishment they believed was too harsh. Did you feel the support? Did you get those messages?
Absolutely. A lot of people wrote to me and, I was able to contact with a lot of people. I definitely felt the support. I think the support is what kept me sane in prison.
Anything you want to say to the community and those supporters who love you so much and who stood up for you throughout this?
I would just say thank you so much. I really appreciate each and every one of them. I'm definitely glad that the justice system saw what happened and he was sentenced to what he got, and that everybody can start trying to rebuild and move on.
Young tells me she does not know when she'll be out of that halfway house in Washington, D.C., but she's looking forward to rebuilding her life in Maryland soon. She expects to be on some sort of home confinement through December.
Even though she's not totally free, she at least is not behind bars anymore. Chanterry Young is a hero. How does the Foo Fighters song go, y'all? Truth or evidence, race it around. Use as something around. Sing it, y'all. There goes my hero. Watch her as she goes. There goes my hero. She's ordinary. I love that lady. I look up to that lady. I aspire to have the confidence and the self-assertion of that lady. I am so sorry she had to do any time in jail at all, because what was I talking about here in recent shows, everybody? How I'm such a fan of prison justice, especially when people who are locked up will make deliberate efforts to target rapists and pedophiles for specific violence, right? And I would like to see more prison justice on the outside, okay? And Chanterry did what needed to be did. And as a woman, I'm sure she knew that physically she may not be able to, to knuckle up or tussle with her husband, a former police officer. So she brought an equalizer. You know what I'm saying? She leveled the playing field. She did what needed to be did. That is justice. That is justice in part for that young 10-year-old victim. Yes, the life sentence that James Weems, Mr. Weems, dickhead fucking Weems, pedophile Weems, Chomo Weems, a life sentence, we'll take it. All right. That's a long time. And given his charges, like I see the formerly incarcerated people on TikTok tell me, given that this man has terrible charges, has terrible paperwork, oh, I'm sure his experience is hell right now. And inshallah, we're gonna get a story like the one we got last week, where a known murderer of women themselves got taken up out of here at Cumberland State Penitentiary. We only wish hell for demons. You understand? That's it. So Chanterry Young, thank you so much for your service. Thank you for your willingness to protect the children in your care and to do whatever had to be done by any means necessary. We need more of that energy. I'm so glad that she received support. I'm glad she continues to receive support. I hope she receives more support. And I hope that we support, in particular, Black women who take it upon themselves to either defend their own lives or the lives of other vulnerable folks like children, elders, and the disabled. Because there are some Black women that will and have done that. And the system has shown little mercy or little consideration about the reason that the Black women had to use force and or deadly force, right? Black women, I guess, we're not supposed to defend ourselves or even those more vulnerable than us, right? The harm is supposed to be allowed to ride. And if you fight back, well, what you can't be behaving and stepping out of bounds. You can't take the law in your own hands. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here with that. I don't think so. So Chanterry Young, thank you so much. We're glad to know that even though you're not all the way home, you will be coming home soon. And shame on me, guys. I hope, I know her sister was one of her biggest advocates while she was locked up, and her sister was, speaking on her behalf. Shout out to West Baltimore. Them girls is all the way West Baltimore, but I have not pursued to find out if she has support links somewhere posted. So if I find them, I will certainly share them. But I think we should try to support this sister as much as possible as she comes home, because really she needs to be coming home being heralded as a hero. Bam. Come on, KJ Sakuma. KJ Sakuma, kick the truth to the young black youth. Right. Thank you for your service. Listen, salute her. That nigga. When she walking down Emerson Avenue, I don't know what part of West Baltimore she's from, but you see her, you fucking, you recognize a queen when you see one. That's what's up. So thanks, gang, everybody who came on out tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you to Holly Horn. Thank you to Swery Ferry. Thank you so much to Latif. Who else we got in the building? We got Stoner Loader, Damien. Ancient Crustacean. Thank you so much, Ancient Crustacean. Sela, thank you so much. Come on in. Thank you. Hey, Melanie Dennis. Hey, what's up, James? Oh, James, I'm so jealous. You live in that summertime shy. Oh, I hate you so. I hate you so. I love Chicago in the summertime. It is the most amazing city. James, God bless you, sir. What's up, Yipper? Yipper99. I heard you coming up into the Phyllis Hyman classical breakdown with me and the ear doctor talking about who Phyllis Hyman. That's fine. I hope you found out. I appreciate you tuning in and checking it out. Thank you so much. Who else we got in here? Hey, Wendy, thank you so much. Shout out to all of our all-stars. We appreciate you guys. Big up to the Fire Fam mods. You guys are outstanding. So do me a favor, guys. Like the video on your way out the door. If you're not already a subscriber, consider doing so. Even subscribe for 5 minutes so you can talk your little shit and get kicked out. It's fine. We'll take the subs. Thank you so much. Don't forget, you guys, tune in Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern time with Saturdays with Renee. Renee always has fascinating and interesting topics, very compelling guests. And of course, it's Leo season for Renee too. So go over there and show her some love and subscribe to Black Liberation Media while you're at it. You can check out me and the rest of the Beijing crew plus Jackie on the Remix Morning Show, and Ricky, of course, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday mornings. I'm not on Fridays, but the rest of them are. Some of them are 8 a.m. Eastern time. Set your bells and whistles and notifications in order to enjoy some good remix showology. I'm going to go check Kamau out at Sankofa Books tomorrow. So if you're in the DC area, go to I don't know what the website is, Sankofa Books DC, and see what time you can catch Camus in the flesh. Big up to Words, Beats, and Life, an organization here that teaches kids elements of hip hop and much, much more. Words, Beats, and Life is having their annual summer event down at the National Mall tomorrow. Might try to swing by there. So it's July, y'all. It's Leo season. I hope you guys are out here enjoying yourself, getting some sun, staying hydrated, SPFing and shit, moisturized, all of the things, and just be safe, okay? Thank you so much to Will and Molly. I love you guys to pieces. Y'all take it easy. See y'all later. Bye-bye, y'all. Peace, peace, peace.